Man, Ableton, they did it again. As an Ableton Push 2 user, I have mixed feelings about this. I felt like I probably should have waited because there were so many rumors and things about the Push 3 coming out. I was like, you can't wait around forever. Little salty that I didn't wait just a little bit longer. But let's take a look into the Ableton Push 3. Okay. So, as many of us out there, I don't have an Ableton Push 3 to sit and demonstrate. I have an Ableton Push 2, and if you watch any of my previous videos, you would know that I use it in almost all my productions. I want to take a look and see what this thing can do. Okay, so I've watched some videos on this. What I am noticing right away is the back of the board and the size of the board looks pretty much similar to my own Ableton Push 2. I know that there's supposed to be an audio interface in here, which I'm assuming that's going to be this guy over here. We got some ADAT. In and out, MIDI, in and out. It's got USB, and I know you can hook up a MIDI controller to this. You got power, you got pedals, and to put the headphone jack in the back. Nice. All right, can we scoot back just a minute here? My Ableton Push is on the desk. Nothing wrong with having a MIDI controller on a desk, right? It's secure, it's safe. Watch him drum and watch this thing bounce around in his lap. Okay, not how I would use my Push. To each their own. That's $2,000 just chilling in his lap. But okay. Different feature I noticed right away, it does have the dial knob. Looks like they kept a similar layout. The note grids. I do like how it lights up. This is interesting. The dials on the Ableton Push 2 are nice in my opinion. I wish they were just a little bit more firm. The dials, I really like the dials on my Novation. They feel really solid when you turn them. So, but the adjustments in here and the screen in here looks like it shows quite a bit. All right, now he has it back up on a tabletop. It's safe. Let's continue. Okay, what he's doing right there, and this is probably the most, I wouldn't call it, it's not gimmicky, because anybody who is not an expert at a pitch and the mod wheel when you're playing keys and you're trying to get different articulations, sound articulations out of a mod wheel, it can be hard trying to do that with both the left hand and right hand. So the MPE on this is actually one of the most exciting things for me, in my opinion, on this. I know a lot of people are interested in the standalone, but this I think is amazing. Yep. With everything coming out right now, that aftertouch on all these new controllers, I think is going to be the new norm and the new standard. It's probably going to bring the price point up on a lot of MIDI controllers, but I think it's definitely going to be worth it. And if you're not familiar with the Ableton Push, if you don't have one already, basically you can sync all your pads in any form of scale that you want. Bending in and out of notes is going to be extremely smooth and not jarring at all. And it's even showing the modulation here as he's moving across the pads, which is awesome. And the headphones are off. This is your YouTube producer makes beat in 51 seconds. Oh no, he's not done. He's not done. He's got more. He went from his lap to a table, to a standing table now to a table that's on the floor. He's got a nice drum rack over here, or he's got a nice live drum kit over here and a guitar. There's the audio interface. Okay. The live recording into the Push is something that you can do. I've seen people do like vinyl recordings from a vinyl player into the Push into Ableton. So this is actually pretty interesting. Here's the other thing that I'm noticing is there's a nice merge that's happening with analog and digital. It's kind of coming back around. A lot of vintage gear is making its way back into studios, and I plan on picking up some vintage gear. I'm really interested to see in future how well it acts as kind of that in-between controller connecting to gear. Do a quick kind of comparison. I mean, there's definitely some new features in there, new buttons. But if you like the layout of the Push 2, it looks pretty close. I do like this feature up here where it's showing you all of your clips. When I'm in session view on mine, on the Push 2, it doesn't show that. So that is nice that you could see exactly what you made in there. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about this thing. First of all, I'm a huge Ableton Live supporter when it comes to the DAW. I think the DAW is probably one of the best out there. I know there's going to be a clash between Fruity Loop producers and Ableton Live producers, and you get the other people who kind of chime in about their DAW, but it's a really well put together workstation. This is what kind of strikes me where I don't know how to feel about it. So now we're on Ableton's website. Now, the expression mode on here, I think, is an absolute game changer for a MIDI controller, especially this style of MIDI controller. You don't really see that. You see them doing it on keyboards, which makes a lot of sense. As far as like a pad style instrument, I haven't seen it. I think it's probably my favorite feature. A lot of people are going to be like, what about the standalone mode? What about the standalone? Me personally, I have a hard time buying into the standalone version. And here's why. We're going to scroll down. We got the pads. We got this. Here we go. Standalone playability. If you are trying to bridge the gap between MPC users and people who like using those standalone devices, I think it's a good device. For me, it's a hard bite, because I love working in both worlds. I love having the push be able to connect to the computer and control my DAW with the push. So for me, the standalone version, I'm probably out on. I think it's a lot of money. If you scroll down, where's the price? Here we go. Push standalone. $2,000 just for one piece of equipment. And from what I've seen, it comes with light. If you're an Ableton user and you already have, the suite or standard or whatever, then yeah, it's no skin off your teeth. But if you're new into the Ableton ecosystem and you're trying to get a push, then you're gonna have to shell out another $600+ for a better version. I have standard. And the reason why I have standard is because I'm cheap. No, it's because I have a lot of plugins already. I came in with a lot of plugins. I'm probably gonna upgrade because they are adding a lot more features to the suite that are probably gonna be a lot more beneficial to me later. But as far as right now, standard's all I really need. So $2,000 for a standalone. It comes with an i3 11th gen processor. It's got 8 gigs of RAM, built-in battery, which 2.5 hours of playtime, that's okay. 250 gig solid hard drive. I don't think that's quite enough, personally. If anybody who's ever had drum kits would know, you can eat up a hard drive really fast on wave samples. But where they were smart is they went with a push, just a push 3 that you connect to your computer, just like the push 2. And for $9.99, personally, I think that's actually the route that I'm gonna go. However, there's a lot more things that I'm doing right now. I don't know if a push 3 is like my next big purchase. I wish I was a bigger channel. Wish my channel was a little bit bigger. Maybe they'd send me one. Maybe like, share, subscribe. Oh, wow. What I didn't notice, out of stock. Look at that right there. Back in stock in 8+ weeks. So you got 8 weeks to get your money together in order to buy this thing. But all joking aside, I think the Push 3 will eventually make its way over to the studio. But I'm also a firm believer in, once you buy something, get the most amount of use that you can out of it. Don't buy something just because it's the latest and greatest. With that mindset, you're always going to be broke. You're gonna have a hard time because you're constantly gonna be chasing the latest and greatest, the latest and greatest. Now, I'm curious later on to see what type of processors you're allowed to put in there, battery and hard drive. So that's subjective to the manufacturer on, what kind of adapters and things like that they put in here. But this is really smart. They rolled out a really good game plan. They put together a piece of hardware that all they had to do is just add components to it. I do want to take a look at one other video. He's just having way too much fun on this thing. Good for him.
So first of all, we've got this nice new big jog wheel, which is handy for navigating. Obviously, you can scroll with it. You can tap to make a selection.
The jog wheel is nice. I'm not gonna take anything away from that. The one thing, the big reason why I still enjoy using my Machine Studio is the jog wheel. Extremely easy to roll through presets, kits, different things like that. I don't see how they got away with not having it on the first one, to be honest, because you're constantly clicking to kind of navigate through the menu. That's an extremely smart feature.
All around, I think the major thing to highlight with the jog wheel is that there is a more robust note editor. So if I go to clip view here, I can navigate around with the jog wheel and I can select different notes, whichever one that I hover on.
Okay, in a standalone version, it makes complete sense to edit like this. I'm not gonna lie, I like playing everything in and then going back, and if I have to do quick adjustments, it's so much easier with a mouse. It's bridging that analog and digital gap together, which I understand there's a need for. But scrolling through and toggling like that, it'll become tedious, believe me.
Press down on it. Moving left to right on a pad gives you a bit of vibrato.
Look how, I mean, these pads are small, so the fact that it can get that good of articulation just in a small setting like that is extremely impressive.
And you can slide left to right across pads for pitch bends.
So for leads, you're gonna start to hear so many people just going ham with leads. I mean, that's awesome.
This setup, you can just slide your finger around in random shapes. Great way to end a solo. So, standalone mode, push.
Standalone mode, this is what everybody is chomping at the bit at having a standalone mode.
The two big things I'd say you miss from the desktop Ableton experience are that you can't use third-party plugins on the Push 3 standalone.
Third-party plugins.
And also, you don't really have access to arrangement view. It's very much a session view-based workflow where you're working with different clips and scenes. But of course, any project you...
All right. One of the best features about Ableton is building that sketch idea, right? Arranging like clips and getting your ideas just laid out and then being able to transfer them over into an arrangement view. You're paying $2,000 and you can't track out a whole beat. It's kind of not there for me, at least with not being able to do an arrangement and not being able to do any third-party VSTs.
Thanks again to Ableton for sponsoring this video. Push 3 is available at ableton.com, and you can subscribe here for more.
Correction. The Push 3 is 8 weeks out before you can get one if you pre-order, at least according to the website. Unless there's, I mean, this thing must have sold out fast. Good for them. So there you have it, the Ableton Push 3. Let me know if you're gonna get one. Let me know, first question, do you think it's worth the $2,000 for a standalone version? Or would you rather get the one that connects to the computer? B, if you're not an Ableton user, do you think that you would pay the $2,000 to become an Ableton Push 3 user with a light version? Tell me your thoughts on that. 4, would you wait around for 8 weeks for this thing to come into stock? And again, I'm an Ableton user. You're gonna see everything that I do mainly is in Ableton, unless I'm doing a VST review. Then I'm focused just on the VST. So let me know your thoughts on that. If you liked this video, make sure to like, subscribe, smash the thumbs up button. I'll see you on the next one. But I'm gonna put a link over here for another video and another one over there for you. We'll see you on the next one. Have a good night.